Good afternoon, viewer. Thank you for joining us. This is Nigeria Now on Equa Television International, and it's Nigeria Now, and today we are beaming the light on issues that are really burning. And then issue of central bank, like now saying 200 naira, 500 and 1000 naira is now a legal tender till December 31st, 2023. And then so many reactions out there. People, some are jubilating, because of the hardship will reduce, but some people are wondering why allow this policy to go on, and then with the reversals from the Apex Court. Well, you can do media handle, YouTube and Facebook at Equa Television International, so that we will relate together. I have Joyce Jakada with me in the station.
Good afternoon, Samu Solomon.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Always a pleasure doing this with you.
Yeah, before we...
Well, from Abdullah AA, he said, all of you that supported the policy because you felt it will give your favorite country a Adesua, saying this is not even funny. This is so unfair. I've been thinking about those old women that will beg you to help them call somebody or load recharge card because they don't know how to use their phone. How they have to have a GG MIT saying legal tender is not the issue. Depositing the old into the banks by filling the CBN form. We have Belmont saying, almost see how these people are using us to play. Cause Nigerians untold hardship shall not go unpunished. They consistently righteous increase the Apex. And you recall that the issue of this Naira redesign and new Naira policy was something that we began the conversation since December last year. And I think October 26th, precisely, yes, when the announcement was made, Nigerians were wondering, oh, our Naira is going to be redesigned. For what purpose? CBN actually explained to avert kidnapping for ransom, and then bulk of its money it's outside of the banking system, and it's just not wise for any nation to allow that. And that's why they introduced this policy, so that the over 2.3 billion dates were also given of the new notes coming into play. And we saw that in December 15, how that people started seeing new notes and the being dispensed at the ATM, and not until the January 31st deadline that a lot of Nigerians have to struggle their way into the bank to ensure that they deposit their money, so that at the end of the day they won't be caught up with the law. And well, because of the inability to meet up with deadline, CBN actually extended it to 8th of February. Well, we still saw how that a lot of people were able to actually deposit their money, but some, still struggles with the new Naira note. We saw how that even as at the time that CBN even ordered the commercial banks to start dispensing new notes and urging Nigerians to reject old notes. When you go to ATM, you still see the commercial banks dispensing the old notes. And the question remains why. Banks will tell you we don't have enough of the new cash. And no wonder even after the deadline of February, they dispense new notes like enough at the bank, because a lot of people will go to the queue. At the end of the day, they will tell you that, oh, I've stayed for 2, 4, 5 hours, and then I was told that I can only have access to 1,000 naira. People raised queries, said they are seeing the untold hardship that this has brought upon their people, and ran to the court. And that's the governor of Kaduna State, Kogi, and that of Zamfara. And then they were later supported by other governors, about 16 governors, even though we saw how that of Bayelsa and Edo were with the federal government. But at the end of the day, I think the ruling was in their favor. After adjournment of the case on March 3rd, there was a ruling, and the Supreme Court said that this old 200 naira, 500 and 1000 naira should be allowed to go hand in hand till December 31st. And they talk about the fact that this policy actually breached the methodology, breached the constitution. And they talked about the fact that President Muhammadu Buhari insisting that only 200 naira shall be legal tender, and then 500, 1,000 naira not legal tender, as said by the CBN, is just a sign of dictatorship. But for President Buhari, he said it is because of the untold hardship that he has seen this policy has cost on Nigerians. That is why he allowed people queuing at banks. People have lost their lives. We've seen situations where some POS or ATM machines just so that they can be the the first person the next day and have access to bank. We can't take away the fact that on paper, we've had situations from the tweet, some people have died of hunger. Of course, some people have lost their job. Some businesses went down because at some point, almost all the POS operators shut down their businesses because they will tell you don't even have access to cash. CBN governor kept emphasizing on the fact that, oh, why not use alternative means, which is the e-payment? But would you go and buy ugu 50 naira, 100 naira and transfer to that old woman? What about the woman selling akara? What about the keke that you enter for 50 naira? Like, these were some of the issues that were being raised. Recall that in a report, there was a report that said about 60% of the adults in the world are actually unbanked. What happened to them? I think the period that was given was actually short. And that was why this... And then the scarcity of the new note has contributed. We know already the policy came with limits, withdrawal limits for individuals and even corporate organizations. But when this note came in, did we see that in place? Of course, even the limits that the CBN gave of 20,000 for individual, when last did you have access to 20,000 going to the bank? There are times that you go to the bank, after driving to the bank, they tell you can only get 500 naira. Is that enough to even replace the fuel that took you to the bank? Of course, Nigerians have been crying. We had situations where in 8 states there were protests. Some banks were actually, ATMs were burnt down. And then some, like, it wasn't even a good moment for some bankers because they have to sneak their way out of the bank. Why subject people's life to this kind of threat? So I think for Nigerians, while some are going to be celebrating, because if you ask, this is excellent, the CBN coming out to give direct to deposit, they refuse it, and other market people still refusing collecting the old notes because CBN were quiet about it. But yesterday they actually said, oh, they've had meeting with bankers committee, and then as well as other financial institutions, they can go ahead, they give the directive. We recall that even before that, that their people can actually use that. But even after hearing that, Nigerians are not concerned about that. They want to hear the information from CBN. So I think it is actually timely. It is good that CBN were able to actually come out and then talk about, give that directive. It is fantastic. It is excellent because it's more like a sign of relief. You recall that yesterday the press like, wow, you get. And again, NLC yesterday, that's the Nigeria Labour Congress, gave the federal government 1 week ultimatum that they have to end fuel scarcity as well as the new naira scarcity because it has brought untold hardship of Nigerians, saying that if CBN actually coming out to talk, but 10 days after the Supreme Court's ruling, you begin to ask questions like that, they have to comply, and then the statement from the central bank, it is in compliance with the rule of law. And I say, so we have rule of law, and yet when the appeal court said Nnamdi Kanu should be released, and then we don't act when it doesn't favor us. Like, sometimes I just wonder, times I've talked about the fact, I wonder how leaders sleep at night, knowing well that directive that is given, Nigerians now are waiting to see cash. Like, they're expecting to see cash in circulation, where that transact as far as December last year, and actually reversing all of this money. And then banks should be able to build their techs as a time like time on our tech, so that we don't keep having this issue, oh, I made transfer, it was reversed, no, it didn't go, like all of that. Can we use this type of it? You had all of this, we had poverty interest, we had some of these governors bragging that don't worry, you will rule in our favor. What do you think Nigerians would think as regards to this? So for some people, they will tell you this is just pure politics. The presidential election is gone. So obviously this is politics.
This is a very, very important their behalf. Why? Because when you ask why, what is the meaning of leadership, you know, and then this policy is coming because it's targeted at someone. We can clearly see the person in question, he is the president. And then since then, it is now that immediately that it is now that he's son. Let me put it that way. But the door there, she don't have in a remote villages that position that by their coming will reverse. And just look at it carefully. You refuse to follow the order, and you are telling us you are obeys the rule.
That it is a tradition. As it is a tradition, they are also complying, as the president is complying to the rule of
what the Lord says. Is that what the Constitution says? Okay, look at it now. People are saying buying. But still, the issue of vote buying is there. You know, yes, we can say to an extent. But what about conscious buying? Still, you don't give money to buy directly from individual one-on-one. To do otherwise. So where is that position being placed if we are to ask? And then you look at it. Now Ramadan is coming. Is it one of the reasons to know what is happening? People are just being observant and just giving the federal government enough rope to draw, and then they will see where they're headed at. Just imagine when Nigerians start reacting based on community are looking at us. It is shameful. It is honestly, you said you wonder if how some leaders will go back and sleep and they is coming with, so that they will use it to fulfill whatever they want to fulfill. And elderly people, a Nigerian, that work is unacceptable.
It is unacceptable, honestly. Like I said, for some people, they are already opining that this is just
this other civilized country that they pack our money and run and go and relax. Is that how they operate their own politics?
Like I've always said, it's obtainable everywhere for Naira to be, like your money to be redesigned. We just within 3 months, 4 months, some people have died. Some businesses have gone down. Some banks were burnt. People, like so many bridges have been burnt down. I'm just wondering now how operators that have over time extorted people. Now, how would you look at those people that you have actually extorted? I think Nigerians, especially those that like taking advantage of things like this, to just extort people. How can you be collecting 300 to 1,000 naira? These are the people that DSS should be going after. You get?
Yes.
Because it's not like people have some source of income and all of that. Imagine the woman that is earning 10,000, 5,000 naira, and then you're asking her to give you 300 to 1,000 naira, collecting 4,000 to 10,000. You should have just shared the money into two so that you know you work together now. Why would people just do the little responsibility that is being bestowed on us to do? We can't even be trusted. 001. Some is 010, like 000, all trace to 1,000 naira. Give me 300. I think we will win. Nigeria will win. We can only build this country on integrity. But check out in your own closet how kind of leaders are you electing? In the State House of Assembly. This will be made policy or all of that. When the Christian, the Muslim, they come back, put them in offices, and you'll be unemployed. So it is up to us to together ensure that we elect the right. I asked the question earlier, what have we gained with this policy? Like, time is going to tell.
Just for doing this with me this beautiful afternoon. Yeah, I feel like we are really appreciated. If you are not happy with something, just be kind to one another, and just in your own little closet,